Everyone knows her, everyone loves her, and it's time this electrifying cat type finally got her turn with the Tuneup Treatment. It is CAT01 Peppercat, regraded, with a kit of Stealth, Double Shock, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Spearhead, which passively boosts heat and cool stat of equipped parts just by equipping this specific leg. Now, as a model that's been around in the game since its very launch, anyone playing longer than about a week or so is very likely already seen Peppercat twice or thrice or even more than that when pulling for any other specialized model from limited banners or even collab banners. But all the same, even if she may be a common cat, she's still incredibly useful and valid for what she brings to the table, especially when it comes to stopping foes cold. Stealth is a support skill that once activated will allow her to be untouchable for her cooldown and heat phase, basically her next turn, unless she's already being targeted. As an added bonus to Stealth, as long as it is applied, this does also allow Peppercat the ability to bypass any shields or guards that are in effect and attack exactly who she wants entirely uninhibited, which makes it very good for her to get behind any pesky shields and install exactly who she wants, say if a shield's trying to protect a particularly deadly foe on the other side. Shock on both arms is a status ailment that once applied on the target will stop them cold in their tracks for a short amount of time. While compared to Freeze, which guarantees hit and crit, Shock only guarantees the hit is going to land no matter what. Or, if you decide to stall, you can leave them there for about a turn and a half or so before it wears off on its own, buying you just those precious few extra seconds to get to the line and either cripple the dangerous fighter or even just buy yourself that time to get a shield up before they get a chance to outrun you. Biped Legs means that Peppercat has very good coverage across most terrains, arguably one of the best all-rounded kind of legs, and Spearhead already means her already high base heat and cool stats will be even faster, and her base stats are honestly really nice too, even if her HP is a little fragile, but that's par for the course for female models. So she's quick, she's agile, and she loves getting behind things to attack who she wants, completely unhindered and ignoring anything that tries to stand in her way. Thanks to the Tuneup Treatment, she basically takes everything that she was already good at before and makes it even better, adding more utility to her as a whole. Her head has access to upgrades such as Heat and Cool, plus 50 and 100 respectively. Stealth gets an additional turn active once the skill is activated, and head use gets an additional +1 added to it, giving you 1 extra charge of Stealth once you make use of it and expire all of them. Naturally, it goes without saying that the extra turn effect to Stealth and the extra head use are the two really big ones you want to shoot on, because that basically means Stealth will apply for 2 turns instead of 1, giving you an extra turn to be sneaky and stall anyone you want without having to go Stealth, Shock, constantly. Right arm has access to plus 300 to armor, plus 50 to heat, and Symptom, or Shock in this case, gets an extra duration extension bonus. That honestly goes without saying as well. You definitely want to aim for that. As I mentioned, originally at most you could probably make Shock last a turn to a turn and a half, but with this it'll last much longer before it expires on their own, giving you even more an additional extra few seconds to bypass anyone that gets in the way or stall them so that you can regroup and get your strategy together. In terms of other bonuses between heat and armor, I would recommend armor in this case because the extra 300 will be much more noticeable compared to plus 50 to heat. Left arm has access to plus 100 to success, plus 50 to heat, and also has the duration plus upgrade to the symptom. That also goes without saying, also instantaneous. You want to shoot for that first and foremost, and after that, I would shoot for success as well in this case, as the success is your likelihood of landing the hit or landing a crit, and also guaranteeing the opponent is less likely to dodge or graze you when attacking. Her legs have access to plus 200 to armor, plus 50 to mobility. Her Spearhead leg ability gets an additional plus 50 applied to affected stats, and of course terrain rank S rank on Prairie. Now, it was a little tricky to a point trying to figure these out because normally when it comes to mobility, you want to shoot for that bonus where possible, but also much like it is with the heat stat on her arms, plus 50 sadly really isn't all that noticeable, so you really won't get a lot out of that bonus. compared to, say, plus 200 to armor, or even plus 100 or plus 150, but you definitely, above all things, want to shoot for that extra ability to Spearhead, as this means she will run noticeably faster than she did before, meaning that she can activate stealth faster, or even stall targets faster before anything else comes into effect. Terrain rank, S rank on Prairie is nice to have, but much like any other biped that has access to this upgrade, that extra 10% bonus really won't be that much of an upgrade compared to what she already has at her disposal. Comparing her old pure set and mixed parts scores, I did originally have her at a 6.5 and a 7.5 respectively, one of the biggest weaknesses Peppercat always had, and it still applies even with recent changes to meta and mechanics, is the fact that because she is a double ailment fighter, that does tie in the redundancy issue and anyone using stat cleanse as a way to curb her and stop her. So that still does apply as something that to keep in mind when using Peppercat. Anyone using stat cleanse will largely negate the reason she's on the field, but stealth, when making use of it, can still be made very useful and put to very, very good use depending on how you use her, both as pure set and mixed parts. For that reason and for more, I do have to upgrade her pure set score to 7.5 and her mixed parts score to 8 out of 10. Because even though there really wasn't much of a change compared to what she did before, again, as I mentioned, she only just took what she already knew and made it better, she has much more utility behind it, and she puts more emphasis on speed and agility, meaning that even if she may not just barely outrun them before, these extra bonuses will definitely come into play to guarantee that she does bypass any shields that are in play, or even on top of that, just make her paralyzing ailments last even longer than they were before.